You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. Very good, From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Leftovers After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Leftovers After Show.
Going to church. Being taken to church. Hey guys, we're back with The Leftovers Season 1. I don't know why I wrote Season 2. Season 1, Episode 3. 2 boats and a helicopter. It's a Reverend Matt episode. The whole episode. Pretty awesome. My name is Kelly McInerny, and here's my awesome co-host.
Hey guys, I'm Zach Wilson, coming at you.
I'm Alana Jordan.
Hey, I'm Stephaune Wallace.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of the episode? Yeah, pretty good?
I loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so good. I like that this episode we just got to focus on one character for a while. Like the first two we were bouncing around, and that's nice. Like it's an ensemble show, but they spent the time to focus in on Eccleston's character, Matt Jameson. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, see his whole background. He starts off telling about a story about a little boy in church, which is not packed at all. Shows kind of like the repercussions of after 3 years of 2% of people disappearing. Nobody really believes in God. Not many people.
It's interesting. I would have actually expected the opposite. I wonder if it's that his church just isn't doing well, or like people because of his insanity.
Yeah.
Like all the craziness with the flyers.
I feel like that's what it is. I feel like because people are because they're branching out in all the different cults, I feel it hasn't really touched on kind of the traditional religions that are in our current existing world as much.
Yeah.
But I feel like that, I think, is kind of alluding to, he doesn't have much of a congregation because he's really pushing buttons. Everyone is kind of against him and resisting.
Yeah, because he's going about it the wrong way. Like we saw what happened when he was last week he put up those signs saying what they did wrong. This one was about a girl who did drugs, and the guy came in and beat him up for saying that. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, I guess I wouldn't beat a person up, but I'd get pretty mad if you're taken.
These are as far as everyone left on Earth, all the leftovers are concerned. These people are dead, to them at least. So you're dirtying the name of somebody who's already passed on. So it's like why do you need to assault these people's memories? Sure.
Nobody wants to hear like a negative story about a lost loved one at all, no matter how much of a jerk they may have been or whatever. You never hear that at a eulogy, like, this guy was a drug dealer, and, thank God he's gone. It's never like that. So I felt like he got beat up by maybe that girl's dad, or husband. She was selling drugs to college kids. She wasn't doing the right thing, but nevertheless, she's gone, and here's a guy that's mourning, and you're kind of the asshole that's thrown that in everybody's face. And that's his job on a daily basis. So it's tough with Father Matt. He's like, I don't know if he's doing a good thing. I know he believes that, which is great, but he's struggling with not feeling like he's making a difference. I felt like there were moments where his faith was even failing, and then there was the restoration of the faith because the baptism and all that kind of stuff. He's like caught in this weird conundrum of what in the world is going on. He doesn't even have answers.
I think that's why he does that, though. I think because he was losing his faith because these people disappeared, and he was trying to find ways, like, they couldn't have it couldn't have been the Rapture because I'm not still here.
Right.
There has to be something wrong. Like, they're not perfect, you know? So I think that's maybe why.
He's also just had such a hard life, too. You see that he's, put to that test, and he says from the beginning, he has that choice if he wants to see this as something that's a blessing or a curse.
Yeah.
All the tests that he's been given, and he keeps talking about how everything is a test. It's a test for now. It's a test for what we're doing. But it's almost like he's just looking for personal justification at this point, too, for all of these things that have occurred.
Well, I think part of it is that he sees it. He's calling attention to the fact that none of these people are saints, or that at least it's not consistently all these people are good or all these people are bad. It's like what Chief was talking about in the first episode in the pilot when he's talking about these people aren't heroes. Why are we calling this Hero Day?
Right,
Doesn't make any sense. So I think what he senses, what Matt is dealing with here, is he thinks that there's some nefarious purpose behind this, because nobody's asking. People are asking why, but people are thinking it's like a rapture or anything. He's like, this isn't the rapture. These aren't good people. There's something worse behind this. Is it the work of, from his point of view, is it the work of the devil? Is it like some science, like people turned on the Hadron Collider wrong and 50% of the population disappeared? But it's like, it's not God's work, I think, is what he's trying to get across to people.
Sure. You know, rapture obviously is a term that's supposed to be for the good, and he's making a point to point out that these people weren't all good. But it's hard for him to make this point because some of these people were kids. You know, some of these there was a baby loss. The first life that we kind of come in contact with is the baby who's taken away or departed, as he called it. So I don't think he can ever really prove a point. I know people have basically turned their backs on God because they're looking at it as an act of God, but I don't see how he can make a solid stand and draw people back, which that's why I feel like his church had, I don't know, 3-4 people in it.
Yeah, and he tries to find ways of, like, there is still God, because when he prays for Emily, he goes to see her, and she's out of the coma, and he's like, oh, well, it's because we prayed for her today, and they're like, no, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's always, like, he's almost there, like, oh, God's still there, but
he's with me.
No.
But I feel like that's his big, almost thematic thing.
The whole thing that happens, that it's like, oh.
It's that uncertainty, and then that almost ties back to the people who are saying, you know, if this is a rapture, then we know what it is.
Right.
Then it's not as scary because we understand, we have some sort of control. But for you to come and say to me, you're supposed to be my preacher, you're supposed to be the one giving me comfort, and for you to say, that's not what this is something totally different, we don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And he's freaking out and giving the illusion of everybody just freak out. People, that's not reassuring in a time of crisis. And if he's been doing this for 3 years, I can see people kind of turning their back on him, and him feeling almost more of the struggle because he does feel almost isolated, and that he even says, if I don't do it, who will?
Yeah. I mean, he keeps dealing with, in this episode, every time he does something good or something starts going his way, something else comes out of nowhere It hits him in the face and knocks him down, sometimes literally, sometimes not.
This is it. It's a seesaw for Father, you know, that he's on.
Yeah, but it's like he talks about a test.
Yep.
And that's the continually testing. Like, there's so many points in, like, as he's trying to get the money and all that stuff, so many times where he could just give up. Like, be like, I guess I gotta stop now. Like, I get robbed, I get hit, I get foreclosed upon, like, I gotta stop. And he keeps going no matter how hard he gets hit down.
Yeah.
I love that he even says that when the GR is following him, and he goes up and says, tell Patty I've come this far, I'm not turning around. And then...
Go ahead.
You know, and then it's just from that point forward, like, what is his breaking point? How far is this going to go? At what point does everything, you know, the whole episode, you're just waiting, like, on the edge of your seat, like, what is going to be the straw that breaks his back?
Yeah, it's funny because he's like, for somebody that is struggling to find out what happened, he's still okay with the GR who believe in not, like, talking about it. Like, he's nice to them. He helped, like, somebody, one of them got hit with a rock, he'll help them out. And then he has to represent, I guess, Christ, you know, so he has to kind of be on the side of good or right or help, you know. But I wrote down, to what end, though, for this guy? I don't know what the end goal is, like, for the churches to fill back up, or
for people to find their faith. Because this is such an unknown, everybody's like scattered. You know what I'm saying? So there are those that are saying, okay, well, I believe in God strong enough, I'll still be here. There are the others who are like, we have no idea, so now we're GR, and we don't really know why you become a GR, but, whatever it is, or we follow Hugging, Healing, whatever his name is. Yeah. But they're scattered, though, is what it is, because of the unknown.
I think the thing is, like, at the end of the day, he's what you want a religious man to be. He's doing all these things not for himself. He's not trying to get the church. I mean, there's the somewhat selfish reason of, like, he wants his church back, but he thinks that having his church can help him save other people.
Yeah.
He's not trying to attack these people who did wrong and got departed. He's trying to show everyone else something that they're not seeing. He's trying to help everyone around him. Everything he does is trying to help. Like, he stops, he pulls over because he wants to help these people. He wants to give them blankets. Regardless of whether they're not in his faith. That's what a religious person should be.
I agree.
I see that, too, how that kind of is more of an internal struggle for him, saying, I'm doing everything right, and then why is this coming back at me? Then it coming back to the test. This is the struggle that I have to endure now, but I do like coming back to what is the end game, and he doesn't know either. It seems like nobody really knows what they want. They just want to find it. They want it. They want some sort of comfort and reassurance. They want some sort of certainty. And I love that this episode branches out from the Garvey family and kind of touches back to them, but then really focuses on this kind of side character for the first 2 episodes that you see everyone is dealing with this struggle to intense levels that is almost incomprehensible. I can't even imagine if I was in that situation. After the first one, I probably would have been like, I give up. I'm going and taking a nap. I'm done.
I mean, he's essentially, I'm trying to remember the name of the guy from the Bible story about the guy who God punishes. Job, thank you. He just continually punishes and takes away his family, sends disease and all this stuff just to test his faith.
Sure.
Which is a really dark story about a very angry God. But it's sort of what's happening here is that Matt's faith is being tested to no limit.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's almost an intentional kind of allegory.
I think it is. I think that with
allegory.
SAT vocabulary.
An educated woman next to me here.
I think with the writing staff like this and like Damon Lindelof, who I know I am like with the Star Trek and Lost and all this stuff that he's been involved in, it's all layered. There are layers to it, especially when he has time to tell it. I mean, just to talk about Lost alone is just like the religious layers of that show. I think that we can see that there's sort of a similarity between the two here.
There's definitely a lot of depth.
Yeah, well, his faith is being his church is being taken away by a big company that we find out later is the GR, which is kind of a slap in the face because he's been helping them so much. It's another peak in valley for him. So he. But
I don't know. I feel like he's they're like his arch rival, because they are what he would like to be. There are people that are joining every day. Yeah. There are people that newfound belief in what they're doing. Their cause.
They want him to join.
Right.
They keep following him around. He's like, I'm not for it. Yeah.
He's at war. He even calls Patty out. He's like, yo, tell Patty. It's like he's the leader of his congregation. She's the leader of hers. And, it's like there's a battle going on. I love it.
I love that scene, too, with Garvey in the hospital that they just touch on, and that's the only scene that he's in for that whole episode, but him just saying, stop pissing people off. Yeah. Like, just blatantly stop.
Even Nora, too, which we find out is his sister.
Yeah.
Which is curveball, but...
Twist.
This whole town, I'm telling you, it's incestuous.
Everybody's related.
Everyone is. We're going to find out later that
it's
something else is going to
really tiny town. And I didn't realize, I guess I just missed it, that this whole thing is in Westchester, New York, which is where I'm from. I just recognized the area code when the bank called. I was like, oh, 914. I got really excited.
Oh, cool. Shout out to Westchester. That's funny. That is funny. He said to his sister Nora, he said, Father said, people are starting to come around. And I think that's him saying, listen, join up with me. What I'm doing is actually making a difference. Every day he's having to prove that to himself over and over again. I'm making a difference.
Desperate for hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying everything, even gambling, to get that money.
Well, I mean, $135,000
Yeah.
by tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's like
Ain't a whole lot of
crazy.
things you can do. You know what I'm saying?
And how heart-wrenching was it when he goes and asks Nora
Yeah, for
the money and then drops that bombshell on her.
and she just laughs.
Well,
like-
she's probably just in shock still.
Yeah,
He just
because 3
pulled
years
the
after,
rug out
you're
from
gonna-
underneath her.
Yeah, 3 years after, you're gonna tell me.
In a vengeful way. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He never should have said it, and if he did, he shouldn't have done it like that.
I know he means well, but he goes about things even like that, like the wrong way.
Sure.
You know?
I mean, he let it slip. It was
Right.
it was a mean way to say it, and it was like he was just angry that she wouldn't, because she had the money, but she's
Yeah.
like,
I don't think he let it slip, though. I feel like he was more or less like, well, let me prove to you what I've been telling
detail.
everybody with this publication you're telling me to stop. He's like, you're kind of part of it, you know? Your husband was this dude. Father is kind of creepy, though, because he's following these people. He does this investigation, like, so detailed. I mean, he kept the bank receipts, the ATM receipts. It's a little bit scary and creepy about how he goes about his job.
Like, why does he have to research to go to the gambler's, like, casino? I don't understand why he can't just take...
I don't think he would want to badmouth someone that wasn't
hearsay?
actually guilty of it. Yeah,
Okay.
just based on her. That's the thing, is like all this stuff that he's putting out. He's not just like, oh, I heard a rumor that she was selling drugs to college kids. No, he had evidence that she was doing these things.
Okay.
And so he wants to make that public. He wants everybody to know and understand. So when he goes to the casino and he's like talking to the guy and like talking to the guy about his niece, he like really guilt trips him into getting him evidence.
Yeah. And that guy's like, I see why you get punched in the face, because I kind of could do it too right now. You know, it's like, Father, that's him.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about that money in Garvey's backyard. Like, did I miss something? How did he know the money was there?
Well, it was left for him by...
The former chief.
Father
So
Garvey.
it really was left for him.
Yeah.
I thought he might have been
because it
making
said
it. Yeah.
I wasn't
note
sure
on
at
it.
first. Yeah, I thought it was when he was first going. I thought he was going to be like digging up like Daddy Garvey's like little private stash. And then it's like, Rev, like, you need this.
Right.
I thought, I can't wait to see, too, kind of more of the backstory into that with the corrupt judge, and then later we see him taking down the judge signs, too, and how that ties back to Kevin's dad. And there's just so many layers that they just give you little tiny references and allude to something else and say, this is obviously important, but not yet.
Yeah,
Just
well,
kind
wait.
of tuck that away.
Yeah, well, they drop at the very beginning when he's talking to Chief Garvey about he invites him over for dinner. Chief invites
Like the old
Matt,
days.
over for dinner. Yeah, like, so he's clearly like an old family friend. Like, they got along well. They probably went to his church growing up.
Of course.
Or went to church together, because I guess Kevin and Matt are about the same age, more or less. So maybe they were friends growing up.
Yeah.
And they sort of grown apart over the years because they're in two different worlds, even though they're in the same town.
I mean, we
but
could
it's-
assume that, definitely.
Yeah, it's just one more thing that, like, the whole situation with the Departed has taken these people apart. Like, they
Polarized
don't.
everyone.
Yeah, they don't get together on Sunday nights anymore.
Well, do you think it's because of that, or do you think because he's gotten a little bit loopy now, too? He doesn't really want to be in...
It seems like everyone's gone a little loopy,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the
How can
whole
you not?
thing, is how...
Yeah, but Mount shouts it at people.
That's true, but everybody is cracking. It's just in what way?
Right.
In what way are you handling it? And it's so interesting, too, to think 2% of the world's population isn't that much. Like, I read an article that was saying, you've probably 2% of the people that you've met in your life have probably passed away, but it's just spaced out. Somebody that you went to school with years ago, and you don't really think about it, But when it's on this global scale, it really makes you reflect on, if you're really faced with intense situation and intense grief, how do you crack, or do you hold on like Matt tries to? And what is your breaking point?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's a matter of closure, and there is none. So how do you move forward in life? And I think that's where the kind of the cracks start to seep in, and you can't ever get closure with this unknown situation. The other thing I was going to say, though, I think that Daddy Chief supports Daddy Chief. I don't know his name. He supports Father Matt. So I think he wrote that because he kind of believes in what he's doing. He helped him do some research. He obviously found out about this money that Judge was taking, and he stashed that money. There's no way for Father to get to that money unless you were the police chief, and you can get to, money that's been apprehended or whatever in a crime scene of some sort.
That's a good thought, because we don't know where this money came from. Because clearly it was set aside for him. It could have been taken in a robbery or something. Because that all just goes into evidence.
Sure, yeah.
Just takes.
So I think it's the judge's money that he may have taken in.
That's probably why he leaves it there, because he doesn't want to take dirty money. Because Matt is too, he doesn't want to go about it the wrong way, do wrong things, and he knows if this came from a bad place, he's not going to do it. But desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, I really like that prediction. It makes a lot of sense. It explains why it would be left there, because he's like, I want to give this to the church.
Sure.
But that's too much of a paper trail. You can't just hand over that much money.
Right.
People are going to notice. So I'm putting it here in case of an emergency, in case you need it for God's work or whatever you're doing. Yeah. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
And the note, I think, seals it up by saying, you deserve this money.
Yeah.
Not this guy. He was a dirtbag, You're doing some good work. Yeah. I support your good work. You should have this money.
Mm-hmm.
So
the big question comes from but what happens when somebody's going to find it? Because he put it back at the end of the episode.
Because he's Father. He does things right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good dude.
I mean, he doesn't know when he's going to need it again. So he puts it back in the emergency hiding spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I feel like there's more layers to it too, though, because I almost feel like if there's some layer of guilt, if that is the bribe money, if he almost doesn't want to use it because he does go back and put it back.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it seems like if I don't think he's putting it there for safekeeping. I feel like this is dirty money that he's saying, I'm using it and I'm going to. He obviously has never been gambling before.
Mm-hmm.
She says, how do you want this? What denomination? I don't know. Does it matter? He goes to the one where he's like, this is red or black. I pick one or the other and just hope that literally it's in God's hands as he sees it.
Yeah.
So I see him kind of almost justifying these negative actions, saying, hey, these are the precautions, or these are the, not really precautions, but I guess necessary steps.
I think you're kind of touching on something I wrote down, which was the word compromise. And, as much as you're, especially in religion, when you start to point at other people and say, hey, I know you guys thought this guy was a good guy, but actuality is he did this, this, and that, in your own life, because nobody's perfect, at some point you'll have some negative actions of your own, or you'll get so desperate like Father is. I think he's so desperate that now this compromise is setting in. Father would have never gambled, under any other circumstances. Father would have never touched that money for any other reason. He's not that dude.
Desperate times call for desperate, so that's why he's putting it back, though, because he's like, I'll use it now, but I'm gonna put it back because it's still.
He's justifying his own sins too. It seems like the overarching thing is, the whole "let ye without sin cast the first stone."
Sure.
They're literally throwing things in this episode, so it seems like that is the metaphor that kind of runs throughout. Is he's saying, everybody has sin. I have to justify these because the ends justify the means. It's okay that I'm doing this, even though he doesn't quite know what the ends are yet.
Yeah. I mean, it raises the big moral, ethical dilemma of how much sin is right if it results in something good. Like, gambling is a sin. Is it okay to do that if the result is the church is saved and many people could theoretically be saved because of that?
Yeah.
And then where do you draw the line? And then it becomes a slippery slope. Like, if he had to potentially, we don't know if the guy lived or not. He potentially killed a guy to get that money.
Right.
Is that too far?
Well, we think that he's departed, but I think there could also be there that they'll show us that maybe he was taken care of for his wrongdoings. you know? Because how do they get to the money? If he's departed, you don't just go in his house and take his cash. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what do you mean?
This dirty judge.
Oh, he's in the loony bin.
The judge is?
Yeah.
No. The father,
Oh.
the original
Girl,
Chief
you about to
Garvey.
make me think.
I was like, wait.
When you seen a judge at the loony bin?
Chief Garvey Senior is in the loony bin.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the judge whose
We
the
haven't
paper
had-
was like
yeah,
about
we
the
haven't
judge.
seen- sorry about that.
We've
No,
just had
no.
little references to that. I think that's one that I'm hoping they'll flesh out more from somebody else's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that because based off this episode, they'll kind of branch out and have some more target episodes that are just focused on
yeah.
individual characters.
Of course. Which
Kinda
that's why I
get
loved
their
how they did this one.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you said, is gambling right? Maybe, like, if there is a God, no, the answer because we clearly find out at the end he makes the money, he does everything in his power to get that money, but then he does something nice, slips up, does something nice for the GR, helps them out, and 3 days, like, he goes to the hospital.
And I mean, it all comes back to the story that he said at the beginning of the episode where the little boy, who we found out is him,
Yeah.
prayed for attention because he thought the little sister, his newborn sister, was going to take it away from him. And he got his attention back by getting leukemia.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll give you what you wanted. Like, he prayed for the money.
Yeah.
He got the money.
Yeah.
But what he wanted went away. Like what he should have wanted went away anyway.
I like that at the very beginning too. He says he wishes, actually he prays, because it almost goes to the whole genie thing where you're granted your wishes, but they come with a cost. They come with a catch.
Sure.
And so
The
it seems
monkey's
like he's
paw.
almost putting that mentality towards his religion, and that also calls into question, well, is that really how you should be viewing this? Should you be seeing it as this is the Lord's mischievous way to mess with him?
Yeah. I think that's exactly what he was saying. He used the terms of punished or rewarded, you know, and it was kind of like, how do you view what God did here? Because for him, it's all about God doing this. This is all God's will. So how do you view it? Were you punished in this situation, or were you rewarded somehow and you need to change your perspective? So Father's he's a different dude, but when you start to compromise, it doesn't matter. Sin is sin is sin. We all gonna sin. We all have shortcomings. And I feel like as soon as he starts to now become desperate, or sometimes in religion, people become God's hands. It's like if you trust God's will, right? Not trying to get all religious on you guys, but if you're trusting God's will on one hand, and they say, well, the church is going to close down unless you have $135,000 by tomorrow. Well, that would take an act of God for that to happen, right? So if that doesn't happen, isn't it that God said, all right, well, no. You know what I'm saying? But if we start to compromise, now we go into, I know a way that I can do it. So he goes into this whole, compromised lifestyle, and I think it's going to take him down this crazy road, which it ends up, it doesn't even work out. You actually can't bend the will.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's weird.
I love that line when he's talking to the guard in the casino, and he says, if you can no longer separate, because when he's saying, why are you doing this? If you can no longer separate the good from the evil, if you can no longer separate the innocent and the guilty, then all of this is meaningless.
Yeah.
And so you get some sort of like, his kind of end goal is just the clarity of, hey, there is some sort of meaning,
yeah.
but his quest for meaning is making him tweak what's
Right.
good and what's innocent and what's guilty.
That's his
he just
mental
assaulted
battle.
a man. He is he's doing things. He's using dirty money to gamble and
Yeah.
then beating people up in parking lots. Things that you can see are not normally things that
Okay.
he would
He's on
be
private
very
property to get
against.
that money,
Yeah.
mind you. So he's trespassing. Any way you look at it, this is all Father, like, kind of breaking apart.
I did like that scene when he goes to get the money and we see
Lori there. So we see that she still does kind of care, even though she's supposed to not feel like she still shows up.
Yeah, it was an interesting twist to have her there. I mean, the lights come on, and we're like, oh no, Kevin's gonna be there, and like he's taking out the trash. But to see her there, it was a shock, because she clearly went there against GR rules. and she doesn't want anybody to know that she's there. I think she just misses her kids and her family.
Yeah.
I think whatever it is that drives the people that the GR want to be in, like, to join them, it's not fully enough for her, I guess. Like, she's still being pulled back in that direction.
Yeah, she's kind of the outcast there. She's kind of rebellious, so to speak, to whatever their belief system is. And I think that's why they made sure we saw her in the backyard, because that's who she is. She wrote down, I remember, on that paper, she wrote down to Father, please don't tell them. You know, and that's kind of putting her not necessarily on the same team as them. You know, I'm in it, but not fully. So, you know, I think it's obvious that she's not going to be there very long or much longer.
Yeah. She's really struggling to stay there, I feel like.
Yeah.
And it's hard because she has to recruit people like May and try and sell how, like, redeeming the place is.
Yeah.
But I don't think she believes it is herself ultimately. Yeah.
It's the battle of meaning versus meaningless, I think, for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, in Father's way, it's his own deal. With her, she's struggling between, does this really have any meaning? What in the world are we doing? Or, I kind of get it. I see what we're doing. You know, she's going back and forth. So I think that's going to be everybody's battle. What's the meaning of all this?
Yeah, and she's really searching for something. We can see that she connects, I think, with the overall message of the Guilty Remnants. Like,
sure.
She sees, like, what their purpose is and
right.
believes in it. But I think it's the little things. Like, it's hard for anybody to have, like, a full congregation of people fully committed to a religion. She doesn't want to go as hard on Meg when they're making her, like, take away stuff and having to chop the tree. She's, like, being nice to her. And Patty, like, criticizes her. Like, you have to be nice. You can't be that nice.
Yeah.
Don't let up on her or cut her loose. Sure. And in this case, she's like, no, I need to see my family. Like, I can't just be away from them. Especially, I wonder if it's just, if this is the first time. Because after Kevin, like, showed up and, like, punched the dude in the face, he got all up in her, got on her business, like, come home.
I feel like it might not be the first time.
Yeah, me neither.
I agree.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a regular thing.
Yeah.
Because she seemed to be like, oh, who is here? Who just caught me?
Yeah.
Like, she seemed to be very comfortable where she was.
And then you see the swinging of the chair again, and maybe it's kind of like alluding to maybe she just left, you know, when he goes
I feel
back.
like she goes back a lot. I feel like she's kind of wavering because she, like everybody else, is just looking for something.
Sure.
And the whole cult mentality is, forget your family, forget everyone else. We are your family now. This is just what you believe. And she doesn't fully adhere to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but swinging in the dark is kind of...
Not to mention swinging so still that she doesn't set off that light sensor.
Right.
Like, she had
I
to
didn't
be
even think about that.
perfectly still on that swing.
Yeah.
Sure. And that's kind of like her peaceful place, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's wild.
The GR in this episode, it just raises more questions about because we still don't have any idea what their real goal is.
Sure.
Like, we know that they're stalking these people to get them to join, and like they're like, they want to be reminders, but there's more.
And where do they get money?
That's what I thought too. How do they buy that church?
They bought the church cash.
Well, I feel like when people join, it's the same. Like, they bring their money
Membership
and give
fee.
them to the cult leader. I mean, that's we see Meg piecing off all of her stuff.
Maybe they
it's
sell
assumed
it.
that people have money.
I
And
can
they
see
don't.
that.
Yeah, they don't keep their old clothes. They don't have. You know, they piece these things off.
Yeah, I think that standard cult initiation procedure is hand over your money.
Give us all your money.
Oh, and by the way, it's going to be $20,000 your membership this year.
Well, I don't think it's $20,000. I think it's like, okay, what do you got in your bank
Everything
account?
you have.
All right, you're going to sign that over
You
to
don't
us
need it
now.
anymore.
For oatmeal and
I
cigarettes.
almost feel like they're for oatmeal and cigarettes and
You buy a lot of oatmeal and
white
cigarettes
pants
with
and t-shirts. I feel like almost it is showing that juxtaposition of them really pushing. This is all meaningless. There's no meaning to this, and then Matt. Everything he does is to try to prove meaning, and then showing these two polar opposites.
Yeah, at war.
Yeah.
But then showing the real humanity of it. The show is great about showing these polarized factions, but also showing the individual aspects of people interacting.
Yeah.
It's also great with this whole symbolism that I personally don't know if this is actually happening. You know, you have those moments in the show.
Yeah.
Like the pigeons.
Like the
What's up with the birds?
what's the birds?
Well, the pigeons
all
are the sign.
Animals. All the
But were they in the casino? Yeah,
I think
they had to
they
be,
were.
I think
right?
they were.
Yeah.
I think the animals are all just freaking out. I think that
Okay.
that's why it's
So they're
almost you
weird.
can't tell what's happening
Mm-hmm.
because the animals are acting so weird
Yeah.
that it's almost like, well, are they really seeing that? Yeah, I guess they are. They're
I
just
mean,
that.
they are. The people in the casino are reacting. Then they're like,
Yeah.
"Get those birds out of
Sure,
here!"
sure, sure.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because we got one pigeon and it's just like on his stoop. And it's like, okay, one, and
Yeah.
then the casino, two pigeons.
Two pigeons.
And he's
then-
like clearly noticing this is the second time he's seen pigeons in the day,
Right.
which although, I mean, in New York, there's not really like a lack of
Yeah.
pigeons.
But it's in a bizarre area.
yeah, it's
that's
odd.
But then,
And then
the
the
three
third.
pigeons on the stoplight, which went from just green to red, it skipped yellow.
I didn't notice
I'm
that.
pretty sure it just like skipped to yellow. That's why he had to screech to a halt.
Yeah.
because it just suddenly stopped and like so. It's sort of and compare this with the deer in the first episode.
Yeah.
The second time, like the dogs are nuts. Like they're not our dogs anymore.
Right,
the whole
right.
thing.
Yeah.
But the deer and the pigeons like appear to have been sent
Yeah.
Maybe
to
they're-
convey a message.
And I think Matt thinks that it's like a message from God.
Yeah.
That's why he gambles on that table.
Particular table.
yeah.
I don't know why he chose red.
Because the pigeons were on.
Were they on
On
red?
red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, yeah, gotta go red.
Yeah.
There's
And
the
it
third
was
sign.
the three pigeons. So we went 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I love when he turns and looks at stupid Tina, who jinxes him with the black, and then
Smiles.
You see, yeah, and
It
it's
was
that
so
look
good. Mm-hmm.
of, oh my gosh, did he just lose everything? And then the smile of, oh,
Oh, they
he
drag.
got it.
They love the suspense on this. They
Yeah.
drag it out. They make sure we definitely get a nice heart rate going.
But then it like peaks down because
Yeah.
the drunk guy almost robs him, which I called. I knew that was gonna happen.
As soon as he's like sitting in the car and not leaving
think
immediately, it's like,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
get out of here, man.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as he
160,000.
signed that relief, I was like, no,
Leave,
nobody has
leave,
ever
leave.
relieved in this show.
Yeah.
You need to leave immediately.
Drive away.
The second
Drive away.
you think it's okay, something horrible is about to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, who comes to steal $160,000 with no gun?
It's true. Yeah.
A drunk man from a casino who
I'm
just
ju-
watched a man who was already
is-
beaten up.
I think he was
Yeah.
just winging. He's like, "Whoa, look
No,
at this
but
oldish dude. I'm gonna try and steal his money because look at how much money he just won."
Yeah.
Well,
And I
Yeah.
could take
no
him.
one was
I could take him.
expecting him to go crazy and retaliate. I don't think Matt was even
No.
expecting it. And
Yeah.
then we see him just freak out and scream in his car.
But he's
Yeah.
just so desperate, you know, for that money. He needs his church because what else is there, you know, for him?
I love it. They set us up, boy. They threw a lob
Yeah.
with that because of that whole scene and the scream and the energy. And we're kind of in the fight with him. Like, you got to make it. He's almost there. He's always almost there.
The
Yeah.
show is so good
Yeah.
about making you think one thing and then just switching it and having that
Yeah.
almost
Just
magician sleight of
pull the
hand.
rug out
Now
from
you're
under you.
starting to kind of call it because once he stops with the GR, and I'm like, no, something
Don't
bad's
help
gonna
them.
happen.
Yeah.
Now you kind
But
of
then they have like his wife. That is
Yeah.
what kind of blew my
And-
mind. They keep alluding to Mary,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we see Roxanne, the caretaker, I just assume
I thought she was a
that's
cleaning
Mary.
lady. Yeah.
That must be who they're talking about, and then or who is this?
Yeah.
And then
We
seeing
find
that
out- yeah,
Mary-
because-
At first, they're talking about like he does like we can't keep doing this. You got to pay me, and I'm like, what
Yeah.
dark
Prostitute?
stuff
What
is he
is-
up to? That's what I thought too.
I was like, Father, I knew you were
I thought it was the
compromising.
cleaning lady. I thought he was
That's
just
what-
in such
yeah.
disarray, but I didn't.
Oh, you
realize-
girls.
No, but after he gets knocked out with the rock after trying to help the GR, and he has this crazy dream, which
Oh, man.
shows the backstory of his wife, how she got like that. Because I thought she was just a stroke victim or something.
But we got like the doctor scene first. Like that was nuts. Like
That's
this
Yeah.
just like
intense.
him, like adult Matt,
Yeah.
like as himself with like the 80s doctor or whatever.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like
Saying-
getting little cute. That was like where they
That was
revealed
the
like,
kid. They took us back to the beginning.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of his major, huge struggles, these giant life-changing events, and seeing just the sequence back and forth. Here's him getting this life-threatening disease, surviving it, watching his parents die in a fire with his little sister.
Yeah. And
You
then,
know?
then he's having sex with Lori, his wife and Lori, which is weird. I don't know, does he have feelings for Lori, or was it just because he kind of connected with her?
I think it was almost, that was when it started to be into vision. Like it was, here's the past. These are all the struggles. This is the test that's led you up to here. But then, you know, because it's like, why do you resist or whatever? And then has it changed to Lori? I almost feel like that was, pay attention to the GR. This is, you know, almost an alluding to they're taking over now. Lori is going to be how you can infiltrate. Lori's going to be your end.
That's good.
Yeah.
But then his hands go on fire, and I think, do you think that was kind of alluding to maybe he started the fire with his parents?
I don't think so, because we saw Kevin's feet on fire in his weird dream sequence, and then we see his hands on fire. I almost feel like the fire is like, hey, I'm putting you through hell on earth right now.
Oh, that's good.
Get ready. This is a fire that's burning. Something's coming, and you're a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I felt like his hands actually became on fire all of a sudden, or burst into flames, because the works of his hands now had caused him to compromise. I go back to it, and he's actually becoming what he's working against. You know what I'm saying? I felt like he kind of put himself in hell now, you know, or whatever. So I was like, oh, your hands are burning because of what you are actually doing. You just murdered a guy. We don't know if he murdered that guy, but you can't get your face slammed into asphalt over and over again and live every time.
Not well, anyway.
And when how you said that GR is taking over, I think you're right that was the dream was saying, because Kathy Geis, well, I don't really, but
that's how I see too.
She's welcoming him into the church, and it's packed, but and they're singing creepily, so I think it was the GR taking over. And just when you think he's gonna make it on time with the money, he's 3 days late because he was in because
he's knocked unconscious.
Yeah,
but
no, I almost wonder if the GR had something to do, like if that was them setting it up, because he sees the guy bleeding.
Oh, that's way too strategic. My
potato.
goodness.
Yeah, I don't think they thought that.
I think that's just too intricate.
I don't think they're bad people like that. You know?
That's true.
Yeah.
But something in the dream that I'm really curious about is, like, when his wife says, "Why do you persist?" Is that just more
that
of like
Lori,
the test?
though.
Oh, is it Lori? It was I think it was his wife, but it was during that like.
It was his wife.
The switch.
They were having sex or something, right?
And I guess it's more because the dream. I go back to like when I was talking before about the Book of Job. It's just like all the crap that has been thrown at him throughout his life.
Yeah.
Parents killed, massive car accident, like, and I thought it was really interesting to put him next to the mother, like the first person we saw.
Yeah.
And like he was right there. The car accident we saw in the background suddenly has so much more relevance.
That I love now that they're so good at tying everything together, and seeing that the opening scene for the whole show in the pilot, we see that car crash. That car crash is what causes his wife to be catatonic.
Yeah.
No wonder he has so much resentment towards these people. A man who just got raptured and has now left him in even further disarray and has ruined his happiness. That man who just got saved just destroyed his wife's life.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's his first person that he starts to now investigate.
I almost wonder, because he has that anger, that resentment already built up. It makes sense, because you almost wonder, why is he turning on these people? Is it just that he's saying, why was I not raptured? And that was my
He's
original
going to be the judge.
That's
a good prediction.
Yeah, I'd say that's a solid prediction. But like, it's because like somebody gets departed. Like, what kind of God would do that? What kind of God would rapture somebody, and the result of taking them out at that exact moment, crippled, put my wife into a deep coma.
Yeah, she's a vegetable.
It was a great episode, though.
So now here he is running, though, and I just got to mention the violins, dude. When they're playing the violins, doesn't that get you guys so intense to watch? He's running like for his life. He's chasing this thing now, runs to his car, does the whole thing. And they're playing these
scored show, definitely.
Yeah.
I love it.
The drama as well. It's well shot. It's well directed. The acting, like, I gotta give kudos to Christopher Eccleston in this one, because like for me, like, I'm a big Doctor Who fan, so like I knew going into this, like, he's gonna have to bring it if he's gonna not just be the Doctor in a new role for me. And he really, like, I really just forgot that he was
Sure.
ever another character in this episode. He was just Matt. He was so good, and like to have that transformation, like in the scene in the parking lot, like where he goes from like this really like happy, relieved into just furious and like losing it, but it never felt too drastic.
Right.
It was just the right amount. It felt real. It felt like
felt
that's
contrived, right.
something I would do if somebody tried to steal from me and I just like I was at my ends
In
rope.
the moment, yeah.
Yeah, you just like you lose it, but it was never like screaming over the top. Even the scream in the car felt very real. It was at the perfect level.
And you feel for him, even though he's doing some things you don't agree with. You're just like, man, if my wife is in a cult because of that, maybe I would be like that too. You know,
Sure.
It's crazy.
They've had a scream though. I think on every single episode, somebody has a
Frustrated
dramatic,
scream.
frustrated
Yeah, yell.
cry out.
Who was it last week?
The son.
No,
right?
it wasn't the
that was
pool.
the
That was the
pilot.
first one.
That's the first one. Who screamed last week? Somebody. I got to look for it. But there's always like,
somebody
Yeah.
was it not
You'll
Kevin?
be the official scream searcher.
I'm gonna find it out.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
We'll be
so.
tweeting about it.
New
Yes.
task for you, someone.
Anything else you want to add about the episode?
It was amazing.
It was awesome, right?
Awesome. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. Let's just move into news and gossip.
All right.
Yeah.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Alana, did you have something or?
Oh, I just like that you see a little bit when he is in the grocery store getting the bleach, and they have the background for the figurines for the people who are departed.
Yeah.
The HBO Leftovers official Twitter account tweeted out that full commercial, and when you watch it, I just really liked it because it plays up the capitalism of course, everybody's going to try to find a way
To
make
capitalize.
money off of this and how to kind of cash in on people's emotions. And when you watch the full commercial, it just is kind of like,
Yeah.
Crazy.
A little creepy.
And it's on the Twitter?
it's on their official Twitter. They tweeted it out earlier today.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
I retweeted it on mine too.
Neat. Cool. I have one of the writer of the last episode, Kath Lingenfelter.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, ma'am.
I think it's a girl. She last week she live tweeted, and she gave a bunch of like 7 facts and all that. One of the cool facts about last episode, I thought, Peter Berg, the director, was actually the dead guy that Wayne kissed. So that was a pretty cool fun fact that she said. I think she live tweets pretty frequently, and
So imagine that's such a weird
Yeah.
choice to like if you're gonna do a cameo. A lot of directors like to have cameos. That's a little.
I'm going to be kissed as a dead guy.
it probably
like
makes
it.
it at least a little funny for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, just put some blood on me. I'm gonna have the creepy hugger, dude. You know.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, any more news and gossip? No?
Wait, so
No.
Meg last episode was the one who screamed when she was outside.
You're
That's
right.
what I
She
was
had the breaking
thinking.
point.
Boom.
Dang it, I knew it. All right,
right.
go ahead.
Okay.
Moving on.
No, news and gossip? No? Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right. How about predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I'm going to cheat because one of the...
Right off top, you're just going to let us know?
Yeah. No, one of the YouTube viewers, she had a really awesome prediction that I'm just going to say. Her name's Shiny Buster Baby. And she said that the Garvey family has the gift of sight and are perhaps prophets. The overall arc of the show may be about both real and false prophets. The mystery man may perhaps be an angel sent to do just like his dad says and help him.
I'm totally on the same
You know,
page.
I don't think it's the Garvey family though. This is I'm going to take it a step further. I think Kevin does. I think Matt does too because of the connection with
Yeah.
the fire. I feel like Kevin, his dad, and Matt with Lori are going to take down the GR from the inside.
No,
a good one.
I'm with Shiny Buster Baby, because if you think about it, like the father, Garvey's dad, he's seeing somebody.
He's talking to somebody,
We don't
yeah.
know who it is. I don't think he's crazy, and he says like
don't think he's
it
crazy
always
either.
seems
I think he
crazy
is a
to the other
prophet.
people. I think he's seeing somebody. I think that whatever it is about the Garvey one, because the bald man. I think that it was like a fake out because they really set up that scene to be like, is he really there or is he not?
Yeah.
And they sort of like bring us, oh no, he must be there because, what's her name? The daughter, she sees it. Jill, she sees him and she refers to him. But Amy, she didn't acknowledge him at all. I think only
we talked about that a little bit last week, how we weren't sure if he was really there or not. And we kind of unofficially decided we didn't think he was. I think he is somebody who's sent. I'm definitely on board with that, but I just think taking it a step further, I think Matt is involved too, and I feel like Matt is getting some of these things, but I almost feel like he's clouded by his sense of what his religion is, and it's almost like, well, we need to strip that away first before you can go into Kevin's blank slate state, which is just being fed whatever.
She also predicted that the twins to be the same, the twins that helped Jill out. Because if you notice, they always deliver a particular set of info to the daughter. Like, first episode, they speculate about how feral the dogs came to be. Second episode, they comment on a bad influence on her best friend has become on her. So they may be agents of heaven that both can and can't be seen.
They do not drive. They don't drive their car. The girls just get in the front seat.
Take over.
So.
And I also want to say shout out to Shih Tzu girl Juliet, who on Twitter, what up? She was talking to me about the attractive twins as well. Yeah. And how they were also on Desperate Housewives. We just had a little girly crush.
They were on Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
Dang it, I remember that
Felicity
now.
Huffman's sons on Desperate Housewives. They were in the final season, the grown-up version.
That. Okay.
Charlie and Max Carter.
Neato. Do you guys have any other predictions?
I think next week, whoever we focus on, this is not the last of the animal prophets.
Yeah.
Huh. I agree. I think that's going to be a huge theme throughout.
Beware of Nora.
Yeah.
You think?
Yep.
Awesome.
She's coming.
Nora's going to snap.
So, Stephaune, where can we find you on social media?
Yes, I am more fire at I am more fire, Stephaune Wallace.
And I am Alana Jordan at Alana Jordan on Twitter.
You guys can catch me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, but also here at AfterBuzz on The Strain. We're going to be starting that tomorrow night, and Dominion.
Cool, and I'm Kelly McInerny. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HollyWeirdo, and I do Crossbones, too, on AfterBuzz. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.